Happy Showcase Sunday, everyone. And this Showcase Sunday is magic. It's coming with lots of top tips and stuff that you need to get done on your LinkedIn profile. And who better to bring but Nigel Cliffe from Value Exchange Limited. So Nigel, lovely to have you on here. And we were just quickly before you introduce yourself, Nigel and I were speaking at the NEVAC conference just a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it now? And I was listening to his presentation going, wow, I didn't know some of this stuff. So I thought we've got to get him on a Showcase Sunday. So happy Sunday and happy Showcase Sunday, Nigel. Would you like to introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what you do and why you do it?
Yeah, thank you, Alison. Yeah, it was great to meet you a couple of weeks ago. It was, yeah, super day, wasn't it? Yeah, really, you know, I love being on stage, so it was great. Yeah, my name's Nigel Cliffe. I'm a LinkedIn trainer, consultant. I like to use this word sometimes performance coach because it's, you know, it's actually about changing habits, and that's a big thing for me. You know, everybody knows about LinkedIn to some extent, but very few people I speak to actually use it successfully. I need to make a difference. So yeah, so LinkedIn training, done this full time for 10 years now. A couple of years before that, I kind of did it part-time. As I was getting into it and thinking, I like doing this. Yeah, as a consequence of doing it and you know, using LinkedIn myself and winning business on LinkedIn for a business I had before the one I have now, you know, I thought, yeah, this is great. And then people start saying, Nigel, that was interesting. Can you show us how you did that? I went, yeah, I guess I could. What have I just done? So one thing led to another, and yeah, I became a full-time LinkedIn trainer 10 years ago now. Yeah, can't believe it. Why do I do it? I think you said. Do you know what? I summarize it like this: I change people's lives. As a result of what I do, I change lives, and that is really powerful. So I'm, you know, it's a gift, and I'm, you know, so grateful I have that opportunity. From mental health experts to rocket scientists and everything in between, you know, as a result of understanding how to utilize LinkedIn better, I've helped so many people have a distinct change in their lives, which is, I guess, what my driver is.
Very powerful, isn't it? And I agree with you. When you're a performance coach and results focused, and I am a results focused consultant, coach, and trainer, and it really makes a massive difference when you go up against your competition. And I always smile because that's one of the questions I ask. What is unique and different about yourself? What is your USP and what makes you different, you know, towards your competitors? Because you said rightly so, there's lots of people out there talk about LinkedIn. Yeah, lots of people give information, etc. But when I listened to your presentation a couple of weeks ago, I was blown away, and I thought, gosh, I didn't know all that stuff, and yet I've been on training courses, etc., and constantly keeping up to date. So Nigel, what makes you unique and different?
I guess it's that desire to change the habits of people on LinkedIn for success. So you know, who hasn't been on a LinkedIn training session of some sort or been to a webinar event? And you know, there is so much to learn about LinkedIn. You know, I have a course that's absolutely solid and rich in content, and you know, how can I reduce the length of this course? And it's because there's so much to know and it keeps changing. So but it's all very well knowing something, you know, listening to it, but if you're not actually going to implement it and turn it into a habit that actually drives that success, it's kind of largely a waste of time. You'll have a tickle to your profile and you'll pick up a tip here and there, but it doesn't fundamentally make a difference. So I guess that, you know, my USP is I've got a method and a process to actually change habits that you develop on LinkedIn to drive what success looks like for you. And that's really important because, you know, success is different to different people. And actually, you know, having that full holistic view of LinkedIn, well, what is it we're trying to achieve? You mean you haven't worked that out yet? Well, you're wasting your time on LinkedIn because, you know, any road takes you there if you don't know where you're going. I think it might have been Lewis Carroll that said that, or somebody anyway. But you know, so you have to start off with a strategy, and once you understand the strategy and what, you know, success looks like, then I can help people form habits to get to that position. So I guess that's my USP. But you know, there are many ways to cut and dice LinkedIn, so I don't have the only way. All I can say is, as a result of doing this for 10 years, what I do works. I can guarantee that. So it's not the only way, but what I do works. I've proved it, hundreds of thousands of times. So, and again, that's very powerful. Being able to say, you know what, I can make a difference to you, and that comes with a guarantee, without wishing to sound too much like a second-hand car salesman. I give a personal guarantee, because my reputation relies on it, that I'll make a difference to you.
Yeah, I love that, and that is so important. It really is. And I think when you're looking at that, I know you've mentioned rocket scientists and so on, but when you're looking at it, what do you do right now that helps business in general, but is relevant right now in the future of the hospitality industry? Because although I support businesses from lots of different sectors, my specialism is hospitality, and I like to remind hospitality they've got to be on LinkedIn, because when I was the general manager, Nigel, you're going to shout at me now, I used to think LinkedIn was a bit of a pain in the neck, because all I kept being asked for is jobs or supplying a supply chain, and I know I would avoid it like the plague years ago. Now I just say, gosh, you've got to be on there to be part of a business community. But I couldn't see it as a general manager busy, not seeing the relevance. So what would be the relevance for our industry?
I mean, there is no industry demonstrates being there in person more than the hospitality industry. It's all about relationships and people and experiences. So, if you sit behind a sort of a poor profile or a non-engaging profile, that reflects on your business too, surely, because when you any event hospitality organizer, it's having presence and creating experiences is entirely what that's about. So it seems weird to me that anybody in hospitality doesn't sort of evoke that experience through their LinkedIn profile. I've done training for a number of hospitality industries and bodies over the time, and it's surprising when you get people into a room from, let's say, just picking out hotels, for example. I remember a group, and when first meeting this bunch of people across a different hotel and bar and restaurants and things, I looked at, as I do with all my training, I looked at the profiles before, thought, do you know what, this is awful. You wouldn't come to an event in person dressed like you're dressed, not communicating, not giving any information. You'd be desperate to give all the information, yet somehow your LinkedIn profile doesn't represent that. So what's going on here? So people in hospitality have absolutely got to represent themselves professionally, correctly, and they've got to engage on the platform. They've got to be there. I've got many examples. Perhaps we'll come on to one of those later of how just being active on LinkedIn has changed people's successes and opportunities. Literally driving inquiries through LinkedIn, literally from zero, just by being engaged and active on the platform, letting people know what's happening with your establishment, special offers, events, whatever's coming up. It's just limitless. And there's no better way of demonstrating that through, optimizing your profile and engaging on LinkedIn, talking about the assets you have, your showrooms, your events, your meeting rooms, your conference facilities, your restaurant or whatever it might be. And then just, regularly dropping those sort of nice images, which you've got oodles of, in hospitality. You've got beautiful images of, ballrooms and showrooms and nice meals and people dressed at parties and, events, bands on, whatever size of, hospitality event it might be. You've got images galore. Share them. Images tell 1,000 words.
It does. And I have booked meeting rooms and conference facilities for my own business from LinkedIn by actually engaging with certain sales and marketing managers, who are all over it. And I just think it is quite interesting how, I'm talking about 7 years since I was in that situation. But now I just see it as an open door. And you're so right. You would not turn up to a business meeting with a glass of Prosecco in your hand, would you? And yet lots of LinkedIn profiles show that. And you think, what?
Yeah. Yeah, the shades and pina colada, like, no, not here. I mean, that might be okay in a, in content where you're showing people having a good time. That's great. So there's the profile, and then there's the engagement through images and events, and just portraying an experience. I think people are buying into experiences, aren't they? They don't buy facts and figures. Look at the assets of our conference room. We can seat 350 people, and like, what, show me a picture of somebody having a great time, and an audience giving it this or whatever, and it comes alive, doesn't it? And we buy experiences. We're not interested in facts and figures. We see something, and by being on LinkedIn, you remain front of mind by being ever present, and just particularly with hospitality, you've got a great opportunity to be fun and interesting, and think, that's lovely. Where it's not everybody's got an asset like that to evoke that experience with. So hospitality are missing out if they're just not sharing that kind of stuff. Surely they've got images galore that support it. So yeah.
And they can design so much with other platforms now, can't they? I mean, I've seen so many, especially at Christmas, where they've done the 12 days of Christmas, and some hospitality venues do it really, really well, and have the GM come out at the last minute with a big Santa suit on.
Yeah.
So it is fantastic, but yeah, there's a lot when you actually put all the profiles up at the event a couple of weeks ago. It was quite interesting because having like the sign written around your profile picture, so you can't actually see your profile picture on a mobile phone at all, and you can't actually read what the sign says. That's some of the elements that you pick up on very quickly.
Yeah, it's a powerful tip just off the bat. Everybody, or most people, have a profile picture, but most people do not just display their face. It's really important just to display your face in your profile picture, because it's only on your profile picture does that image appear quite so large. Every time it appears elsewhere, it goes really small. When you engage on LinkedIn, it's a little icon of the image you've got there. And if it isn't your face, you basically can't be recognized. Some people put the whole body in that profile image. Well, when it goes so tiny, you become a stick, on the image profile. I'm never going to recognize you if I met you. So the whole point about having a profile image optimized with your face, get over yourself. It just has to be, I don't like my face either. Do you think I like this face? Not at all, but I know it works for me because I recognize you. And then then you go to events and people go, oh no, I've seen you. Oh yeah, the link, I see you on LinkedIn. Job done. Like you recognize. That's the whole point of it.
Perfect. And that leads us to your 5 top tips, and I always find these incredible amazing content for people to digest. So Nigel, what are your 5 top tips that you bring in today?
Limit it to 5. Do you know what? It's so hard, but let me give you some. Okay, optimizing. There are 2 things right at the top, Alison, we need to do. Optimize your profile, the whole of it, for people and algorithms. And the second thing is to engage on the platform. So like there are 2 key tips I've got to tell you. If you haven't optimized your profile for people and algorithms, i.e. make it pleasant and interesting and information led for a person visiting, but also maximize your profile for text and vocabulary and keywords that you want to be found for, that people would expect to find about you. That's number 1. But you could have the best profile in the world if you don't engage on the platform. You kind of what I call dead to the algorithms. So you might as well put yourself in a bucket with a lid on. So it's the combination of the 2, optimizing your profile and then engaging, which are going to be the 2 things. So under there, just a couple of things on optimizing your profile. Picture talks about background image. Why not have a background image that evokes the experience you're trying to get over to your audience? So hospitality, dead easy. People around, in a ballroom having a fun, or in a meeting room, people relaxed in a meeting room environment, or in a bar. What a great shot of the bar. People enjoying themselves, having a good time. It's dead easy, honestly, to put an image there that evokes the experience you're trying to get across. What about maximizing your headline? That's the characters that appear underneath your name on LinkedIn. you've got 220 characters is my advice, because it gets clipped at various stages, to use. The first 40 characters of which, by the way, you will always get to see typically. So you've got to think of it through sort of two lenses. First, what are the first 40? How can I maximize the first 40 characters to get my message across? Then extended use of characters up to 220, you can tell a bit more about yourself. And think of it not through the lens of, it's not all about me, it's about what I can do for you. Think of the way that your audience is looking at you and thinking, well, how can you help me? And what you need to do is sort of sometimes reverse the psychology of, I know you found me for whatever reason. Let me confirm this back to you about what I can do for you, with the keywords, that are relevant, making you sound friendly, interesting. And if we get that across, we've done a image, background, headline. We tick the box already of so many things that people do optimize just to get through the first barrier, that we're over the first hurdle, to get people to want to know more about us. So there's a couple of quick tips on profile. On engagement, let me give you a couple. Do you know what? Most people feel the pressure of posting. And posting is brilliant, and sharing content that's going to be valuable, knowledge enhancing, interesting, perhaps entertaining is all good. But some people just don't have the confidence to post. I watch other people do it. I've got a confidence. That's a whole new subject. So I'll tell you what, one most powerful thing: engage with other people's content first. You can be just as successful on LinkedIn if you never posted, by simply engaging with the audience that you want to have an influence on for the future. Go and like the comment. That's easy. Click, done. But actually, if you find something to say that's valuable on somebody's post, then commenting. People see your comments, and you build your audience and your character and your personal brand by simply commenting, engaging on other people's content. Hugely powerful tip. Most people completely underestimate the value of that. Just throw some of those quick ones in. What about personalizing all the requests to connect? Don't just hit the connect button. I want to connect with you. What's the point in that? I don't need connections. Honestly, I don't. I love relationships. Let's have something to say to each other. Let's become, friends, even if we never meet. Let's have something. I don't need you as a connection. I want to connect with you. Accept. What's the point in that? I've got another connection with somebody I don't know and have no idea about. Personalize the connection request. Tell me why you want to connect with me, and I'm far more likely to accept the connection request when you've opened some dialogue with me. And lastly, let me give you another tip at the end of that. The most powerful reason for becoming a connection on LinkedIn is the facility then to message each other through the LinkedIn platform. So we can now message each other. We're not limited to the opening characters of 300 to connect with somebody in the message. We can now, talk to each other. And the power of direct messaging is brilliant, because you can pace the time frame at which you build up that relationship, just to say, hey, thanks for being a connection. When somebody accepts, I look forward to seeing you around here. Then a week later, I found this related to the hospitality sector. Did you know about this feature or this new place that's opening, or blah blah blah, this new bar opening in Leeds or wherever it might be? No, I've not come across that. And you're showing interest in that person, so you build up that relationship, step by step, building trust. Huge word. Building trust in your personal brand to extend that conversation. And after you've done that a few times, this person's feeling really, I'm just really comfortable around them. And then you can sort of hit the killer questions and hey, look, we've got such a lot in common. It'd be really nice to have a coffee with you over Zoom for 10 minutes just to say hello. How are you fixed? Oh, that'd be really nice. And that's the point of connections. It's relationships. It's even if you're never going to do LinkedIn training, it doesn't matter. We've opened up a dialogue, which means that if you like what the relationship we have, even though you're never going to be a client, and somebody says, I'm looking for some LinkedIn help. I met I've seen this guy Nigel around. We had a coffee together. What a really nice experience that was. And I've never worked with him, but you get recommendations if you've even worked with people. Yeah. What's not to love? So using direct messages in LinkedIn when you're a connection is hugely powerful. So there's a few. Have I ticked 5 boxes? I think there's more than that.
It is. Yeah, it is. And the other thing about that, Nigel, because and I see it a lot, where you get a connection and the relationship doesn't build. They go straight in for the, let me sell you this. Have you thought about having digital marketing in your business, and you go, have you not looked at my profile?
Exactly. Yeah.
Have you thought about business?
I call that pitch slapping, by the way.
Yeah, you're like, what are you doing? You know, and it is really fascinating how, you know, people just don't think when they're on board. You know, they're coming on board, and you know, can you get me a job? I get that a lot. Can you get me a job? And I go, I can get you lots of jobs, but I don't know what you do.
Yeah, I mean, it's bonkers. Yeah, we I think it was Stephen Covey of a long time ago. You know, the 7 habits of highly successful people.
Yeah.
And I like this concept of an emotional bank account.
Yeah.
That we have with any individual. We can only pull from that account when we've deposited something. And that can be as much as a minor kindness, you know, that we offered somebody, and you know, being kind a few times, we can draw upon that then. But asking people to give before they've received is ridiculous. You know, I'm not going to help somebody randomly get a job out of the blue. What, you know, why would I do that? I'm not being funny, but you know, and I sympathise with people who haven't got, you know, a job at that time. But come on, invest something in people around you, and they'll want to give back when you need help. That's how it works. You know, so that's why this giving and commenting as an engagement feature on LinkedIn is so powerful, because people really value you commenting and engaging on their content. So guess what? They will comment and engage on yours. So you build effectively the value of a tribe around you, supportive, encouraging, you know, and together you all grow, you know, and benefit. So yeah,
Absolutely.
Alice, I could talk forever on this topic. So.
I know, absolutely, and I love listening to you. I think that it's so powerful. You're so right, and trust is a big thing, and building relationships in everything is so important. And it is important that the other thing I want you to do a top tip on is that profile picture. You've mentioned about the face shot, but you also said about the video as well.
Oh, video, yeah.
If you could just add that as well, that would be amazing.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Look, everybody's got the feature on your mobile, so this is reliant upon you using the app-based version of LinkedIn. Go to your profile photo and click on there, and it will give you an option to add a profile video. What's that, you may ask? Right, well, you can do a 30-second video introducing yourself to the people that are looking in at you for the first time. So, you know, you can do all manner of things with that video, but you know what, it just, hey, thanks for viewing my profile. I'm really excited you've come to my profile today. Guess what? I do LinkedIn training. What's that, you ask? Well, I help people become really successful, achieve their life goals through being, you know, through the attention to detail LinkedIn. I give them a plan. I've got a formula. I've repeated it many times. If you want a piece of that, come and ask me how to do it. Love to have that chat with you. Have a good day. There's your video done. Right, crack. Oh, everybody can do that about themselves. You know, whatever it is you do, whatever you do, you should have the confidence to be able to put that together in 30 seconds. You put that in your profile video slot. So when people look at your profile, they can click on that and go, wow, yeah, oh, and it's so engaging, and it endears you to that person. You know much more about them. You see them in 3 dimensions, not 2. It's just powerful. You just, you know, and you know, most people now are used to taking videos themselves, selfies. You know, confidence around these tools and technologies are growing all the time. And if you're still nervous about doing it, get over yourself. Just do it. Nobody's there to criticize you. What fear? False expectations appearing real.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody's going to go, that was an absolutely shocking video, Nigel. What did you do that for? Nobody's going to do that. So it just helps. It's just another feature of your profile that gets you seen and liked. So yeah. And
as I say to everybody who really gets this fear of doing any kind of live or getting out there at all, I say it's not about you. It's about your clients. They're desperate right now. They're in a lot of pain and they need your help. How dare you be selfish?
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Exactly. Bob on.
So, Nigel, have you got any examples of how you've helped the industry save time and, you know, save time, energy, money, maybe? I mean, there's shed loads. So it's like, how do you pinpoint one? You know,
okay, let me give you an example. Can I mention client names because it is relevant directly to hospitality industry?
If they're okay with it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they would be. So this is going back 4 years ago, pre-pandemic. Do you remember those days? And I was invited to do some training, LinkedIn training with the Marriott Hotels Group. Okay, and there were a bunch of sales managers in this session. I think about 12 people, and they were across the M62 corridor from sort of Liverpool to Hull and everywhere in between. And most of them had an idea about LinkedIn, and the profiles were average at best, and got them in a room and shared with them what could be done on LinkedIn. And it was quite funny because they're quite a competitive bunch, actually. They're all responsible for selling events and conference space and all those things in the hotels. And I showed them something on LinkedIn called your SSI score, which I won't go into too much detail, but it's your social selling index score, which I'll give you the notes for afterwards, how to find your own score. And so they had the laptops open, they went to look at these scores, and they were going, oh, mine's better than yours. What's yours? Oh, mine's 39. Well, mine's 43. Oh, I'm beating you there. Whoa. I said, calm down, everybody. I'm not interested in your score. I'm interested in the improvement we can make in your score between now and, let's say, 6 weeks ahead. It just made it up in the moment. And then, I bet I can beat you in 6 weeks. I lost complete control again. All right. So, but they were all set up for a game, like this is now a competition. Brilliant. So it was quite fun. And so we recorded all the scores of everybody in the room. And 6 weeks later to the day, I went around everybody and we said, right, could I have your score today following the training I'd given and, all the things that I'd told them they could do. And the person who won the prize cost me an expensive bottle of gin and some nice chocolates. But the person who won the prize, I won't mention names, but I could, but I won't. She took her score from 32 to 63 out of 100, 32 to 63 in 6 weeks, which is pretty amazing. Now, she was only beaten by one person, but with just 1 point. So I can't remember what her original score was and what her final score was. They're both ladies, but that was I was pretty impressed with that growth, if I'm honest. In 6 weeks, that's pretty good, and that was great. So they won a prize and they took the scores up. But do you know what happened in that 6 weeks? 3 out of the 12 people who've been on that course in the space of 6 weeks actually turned in new business as a result of their endeavors on LinkedIn. They actually converted orders as a result of engaging with the platform. That's 25% of the people in the room actually won business on LinkedIn inside 6 weeks from that day to the 6 weeks later. That's what it's about, Alistair. Yeah, that's an example of, if you understand what you're doing, you can turn this into a lead generation tool that delivers, and it delivers forever. It's not just like a one-hit wonder. If you keep spending time on LinkedIn, results and returns on your time just happen multiple times. What's not to like? You can sit here in your gym jams doing much of it, engaging on LinkedIn. What's not to like? It's brilliant.
Yeah.
So there's an example, very specific to hospitality, to a hotel group, for example. I watched that company, by the way, and the people on that course continuously have huge success as a result of doing it. And you know what? Anybody who's not doing it is simply left in the wake of those who understand how this works. That, honestly, the people who do it have just, and still so many people are not doing it, that those who take the advantage of being, even now, early adopters of doing this correctly, can be just ahead of the field by so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And being out there all the time, because they're the first people you think about when somebody asks you for a recommendation.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I feel like I've got an earpiece from all the hospitality industry colleagues shouting, all right, so how long did it take them to do that? I know it's 6 weeks, but how many hours did they have to invest? I feel like that's going on in my ears.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I was getting people asking this all the time.
Yeah, so how much time do we need to invest to make LinkedIn a success for us is the question, isn't it? having optimized your profile and you know, nailed that, and most people can do that within 2 or 3 hours, just, you know, just to sit down and get it all right, and all, you know, that's not a big piece. Having done that, then if you're frequently engaging on LinkedIn, I estimate that for beginners you need to spend at least 20 minutes a day for 5 days of the week. And a few things happen. You begin to get the vibe and understand how LinkedIn works. So you probably want to do a bit more of it because it's working for you. Who wouldn't, if it's actually delivering on your goals? And it's a little and often is the secret. So it's not necessarily going at 12 o'clock midday on LinkedIn for 20 minutes. It could be 5 minutes, you know, while waiting for the bus in the morning. It's 10 minutes over lunchtime. It's 10 minutes on your way home or whatever. It doesn't matter. But it's just being on the platform consistently and frequently. And I believe for a minimum of 20 minutes, and everybody can have success. Now, if you're going to be writing content, you probably need a bit more time to be writing content to you know, put to post. But what happens is people start off thinking, oh, you know, I can't afford this time on LinkedIn. Well, okay, that's fine, you know, cheers. But if you understand how to maximize 20 minutes, and that starts delivering on your career goals of let's say, you know, business development, then, you know, or whatever your career goals are, and you see that, tell you what, this is working, you want to do more of it. Yeah, so it's not quite like a tap, and I've got to be careful here, but when doing it the right way, driving enough inquiries, you can almost use LinkedIn like your lead generation tool, which you up and down the dial of according to how busy you want to be. And I'm getting a bit quieter. I'll shift up the dial on LinkedIn. I'll get a bit more active and engaged. I'll share more content. Oh, I'm busy again. Oh, I'll just dial it down a bit. Yeah. And you find a level by which you know fairly consistently, by investing some of your time on LinkedIn, you reap the rewards of that time, and you determine how you know, much time it takes you to achieve what you need to achieve, and the rest is down to you. So yeah, often, a little and often is the key. You know, stacking it up till a Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock when you've got a bit more time is not going to work. You know, so absolutely, that's pointless. Just a little and often every day, I would advise. You can drop days, of course you can. That you're not going to miss anything by dropping a day, but little and often is the key.
Yeah, no, that's really helpful, because I know a lot of people would question. It's all right saying you've gone from 30 odd to 60 odd in 6 weeks, but what amount of time did they do it? 40 hours a week, and you can almost hear that cogs turning in the brain going, I can't do that, I'm busy.
I mean, obviously, in a more detailed analysis of that, I break it down to, right, these are the things you need to do daily, these are the things you need to do weekly, these are the things you do monthly, these are the things you do quarterly, you know, and you know, there's a structure to all of that. Not that you need to be immensely structured. You know, I don't structure it. I don't have a calendar or anything like that. I just naturally feel a pulse of it. But I know because I formed a habit, going right back to the beginning, you know, I do these things naturally, you know, as a course of my day. And therefore they just reap the rewards almost without thinking about it. Yeah, I realize that takes a while to get into, but people who get into that state go, you know, they never look back. It just, you know, it becomes such a valuable, and it's not just about connecting with people for sales. It's about, I grow my knowledge by connecting with the right people. I'm connected to a lot of LinkedIn trainers globally that do what I do. Boy, do I value their relationships, because guess what? I'm learning from those people all the time. We're sharing experiences. We're learning from each other. Sometimes they learn from me. More often I learn from them. It's just how it works. So, you know, it educates me, informs me, keeps me at the front of my game. You know, what's not to love about, you know, I see new technologies coming down the stream that I'm aware of before others have even thought about them, because people I connect with are sharing that kind of content. So there's every reason to be there for many reasons. It's not all about business development, but that, you know, that can be a thing. So, you know, work out what you want from it and make that the goal, and build a strategy to help it deliver for you.
Absolutely. No, that you're so right. It's so right. And I know you've had massive value to your clients. Is there any examples that you can mention that you've added value, other than the Marriott one?
Yeah,
She's a big one.
Well, I make this guarantee to all my clients, and I've never failed, that anybody that works with me, I will help them deliver on their goals. I'll certainly deliver a multiple return on the investment they've ever spent with me, you know, and I've worked with clients who are, you know, have literally £1 million plus product values, and they've got into contract, you know, values of that type as a result of the, you know, the conversations that I've helped them lead on, be it thought leadership or business development. You know, so every single client I've ever worked with has a guarantee from me personally that they'll receive an outcome. I mean, I don't know how much time we've got. Have I got time to tell you a tiny story?
Yeah.
Okay, so I won't mention his surname, but Adrian, kind of a friend of mine from the past. We met occasionally as a part of a consultants group, and we went for a walk. You know, we had a little walking group, and every time I met Adrian, we'd talk about this thing I'd never heard of before I began speaking, called graphene. And I won't bore you with the details of graphene, other than to say it's a product that's not yet been able to be manufactured. And if it was, it's 200 times stronger than steel. It's totally conducive of energy. It's an incredible product, and you know, it's world changing, literally world changing. But you can't manufacture it yet. And I was talking along, went on the walks with Adrian a few times, and he mentioned this thing a few times. And he's a scientist, and he said, you know, it's unbelievable, you know, what could be done with this. And I said, well, why are you making it? Oh, yeah. Nigel said, you know, I'd need millions, hundreds of millions, possibly even billions of pounds to invest in this product, because, you know, it's game changing. It needs a lot of research, and we're talking a 10, 20, even 30-year time lapse, you know, before this thing becomes a reality. Wow, that's amazing. So what are you doing about it? Well, I can't do anything. I'm not connected to people. I don't have any money. Oh, so outside. I said, well, I think I can help you. And he went, what? I think I can help you. So you're walking, you know, walking the dog, you know, like that.
Yeah.
He said, LinkedIn. He said, LinkedIn? It's not, I'm on LinkedIn, but what's LinkedIn got to do with that? So, well, I think I can turn your influence into something that's thought leading, so that other people begin to know you and understand you. Cut a long story short, Alison, Adrian is now one of the world's leading authorities on this topic of graphene. Is invited into the US Senate to speak to the Senate. He's respected by NASA. Yeah, he speaks at conferences around the world. He's on the International Space Elevator Consortium. Anybody who's interested in the world of graphene now knows Adrian's full name and what he's about, because he shared what he knew and he became authority in his area of expertise on LinkedIn, so that now the people he couldn't have dreamed of connecting with, Nobel Prize winners, you know, are his friends now. As a result of his knowledge and intelligence on this topic. That took 18 months from start to what you might call success, to actually less, but I'm going to say 18 months. 18 months from Mr. Nobody to absolutely Mr. not somebody, but Mr. Everybody, you know, in that content area. Now that's just one example, and I've got hundreds of examples. You know, mental health, some recent examples. A lady in the car trade, incredible story, you know, not hospitality, but you know, so yeah, it goes. Anybody I work with, I guarantee a profitable, successful outcome, and that's why I have the enthusiasm to do it. That's why I get up in the morning, because I know I'm going to make a difference, and that drives me. And that's powerful.
That's amazing.
Thank you for asking me.
They've all obviously got to put the work in. If they don't put the work in, it's not going to happen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Nothing changes.
There's no easy route to you know. There's no easy. We all know this instinctively, but it's weird how some people still think there's like some secret to success. You know, it's like you're going to win the lottery of LinkedIn. No, you've got to put in the hard yards. But it's not just a matter of time spent. It's doing the right things in the right order at the right time that generate the results. So, you know, and what's sad for me is often I see people, you know, wasting time on LinkedIn. You know, LinkedIn a lot. It doesn't really work for me, and they're spending an hour, you know, a day on LinkedIn, and but you're not doing the right things. You know, you don't seem to know what you're doing wrong. And, you know, often just a very short time with those people to put them on the right track, and now their time becomes valuable, you know, as opposed to wasted. So
no, you're so right. You're so right. So, I mean, if someone was sitting on the fence now, Nigel, what the heck? Why would they be? Just saying.
Absolutely bonkers. Yeah. Why would you? What's the first? What do we do when we search for something? We Google it. Yeah, don't we? Yeah. That's no different for products that we might purchase from Amazon than it is business related services. We Google it. We might be found on LinkedIn, and the next thing people do is they're going to check out the LinkedIn profile of the person they might be doing business with before they speak to them, email. It's what we do. It's what we do, and increasingly it's what we do. The percentages, the stats are all going one way. So if somebody checks you out on LinkedIn and they go to your profile, and it's a disappointing experience, more often than not, you don't even know an opportunity came to your door and left. Because people don't understand, the nature of it. So, and to sort of summarize this, I ask a lot of people at the beginning of a sort of a session or a conference or whatever I'm doing, said, everybody in the room, stand up if you're on LinkedIn, and most people in the room stand up, business professionals. So okay. Now listen carefully. Please remain standing if you're proud of your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, they'll sit down.
No, I'm not really proud. And 80 to 90% of the people in the room sit
down.
And of course, you can imagine where I go then. Are you mad?
Yeah.
That's the first place people will go to get an impression of you. Yeah. And now you've just let yourself down. You've let your mum down. You let your dog down. You just like failed. Because that's where I'm going to go first to check you out. What a disappointment. I've moved on. I found somebody who looks more trustworthy, more, genuine, more sincere, whatever. And you've lost the opportunity. How sad. So, I just say to people, don't let that happen to you. Just spend some time and invest some know-how in how to make this LinkedIn thing really work for you. And you'd be surprised how quickly your opportunities grow. That's all.
And the other thing as well, Nigel, I want to add just quickly is there's a lot of busy business owners out there right now saying they have no staff, they're having to shut certain products and services down or facilities down that they can't actually cater for. So they'll probably be looking at it going, that's great, we don't want any more business right now, we're really busy, but we haven't got the staff. That's another area where staff are looking for. I know I get asked about jobs and then I find out a little bit more what they're currently doing, etc. To earmark them into the right avenue or connections. If you are a CEO of a company, you should have a LinkedIn profile, shouldn't you?
Absolutely. You are part of that brand. You're part of your company's brand, and it's less so now than it used to be, but most CEOs would, I'm speaking very generically now, would say, why do I need to be on LinkedIn, Nigel? I've got salespeople who do all the selling, and you don't get it. You are the key brand ambassador for your organization. Why would you expect your sales director, sales manager, account exec, the janitor, whatever, have a LinkedIn profile to be proud of if you're not leading the way?
Yeah,
you are absolutely leading the way, and yours should be the best example of ever. In demonstrating what's required on LinkedIn to make it work. How can you expect everybody else to follow if you're not providing the right lead?
Yeah.
So from the CEO right down, everybody's got a place on LinkedIn, and the value of turning your organization into a group of brand ambassadors on LinkedIn is just unbelievably powerful. It's infinitely powerful, because if you're not doing it, nothing's happening. You get everybody to proudly wear that badge, and people want a part of you. And when it comes to employment and jobs, you will encourage people to want to come and work for you, because you're demonstrating the values that people can see and recognize. Don't get me started, because I get excited.
No, I know. I just thought I'd bring that up, because the amount of CEOs I speak to and work with, and they do not see the value of LinkedIn. So that's when I saw you doing your presentation, I thought, perfect, Showcase Sunday, because they'll all get a link to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, CEOs, you owe it to yourself and your workforce to be right on LinkedIn, because if not, you know, you're just going to turn me off if I'm looking to work for somebody and I come and see a, you know, an unrepresentative crew of people at an organization that don't look, and people, honestly, I can't tell you all the stories, but Alison, people, I know people losing work right now as a result of the lack of trust and credibility and authenticity in profiles belonging to an organization. People looking in are using those as a part, as one of a number of tools to make decisions as to where to place their business. And I know organizations right now are losing out on that simply because they haven't taken time to represent themselves correctly on LinkedIn, them and their staff. And that's to their competition, the people who are getting it right and who are, you know, showing the way. So it's gone beyond the point of, in my mind, you know, you're still asking the question of why a LinkedIn profile is important. Where have you been? You know, get with it, get with the program. You know, it's now an essential part of your toolkit, you know, in order to be successful. It really is.
Excellent, thank you very much. And I know if they were sitting on the fence right now, they'll be in shock because what on earth? And they should, you know, after the guarantee, everything else that goes with it, and the amount of content, knowledge and experience that you can deliver, but the guaranteed results without a shadow of a doubt. So what do people say about you who've worked with you, Nigel? What is it that they would say to somebody who would look to working with you?
I think the thing that I love to hear them say is, Nigel, you know, spending time with Nigel's made such a difference to helping me achieve my goals. Simple as that, in a variety of ways. I had a really nice message from a lady whose name I did recall, from almost, she must have been almost one of my first LinkedIn training programs, because it was 10 years ago. And she wrote me a note on LinkedIn and said, hi Nigel, you probably don't remember me, but 10 years ago I came to some LinkedIn training, and do you know what, I began to use LinkedIn earnestly. And she said, my career took off at that point, and I've done ever so well. And she said, and I just reflected on where the origin of that had come. And she said, and I took the biggest part of that back to what I learned about LinkedIn and how that's helped me leverage my career. And she said, I just want to take the time out to send you a little note to say thank you.
Wow.
Wow. That made my day. You know, it was absolutely, and that, you know, that sort of comment and recommendation, you know, is what I'd strive for, because you know what, it doesn't matter how well educated, where you live, who you are, you can use these skills to make yourself successful. So it's a level anybody can do. It's a level platform. You know, it's not like it's for the privileged few who've got money or whatever. Anybody can do this. And it's just a really powerful opportunity for people to leverage themselves to get into the places they want to be.
Excellent. So, Nigel, how can people get in touch with you? What is the way that people can get hold of you to find out more?
I guess the simplest way is just look me up on LinkedIn. It's Nigel Cliffe on LinkedIn. Easiest way. You can't miss me. You know, I'll appear there. Google search me. I kind of come up on there as well. So yeah. And listen, if you're interested, I'd love to connect with people who want a relationship. Reach out to connect with me. Send me a personal message. Say you're listening to the show with Alison, that'd be even better. Great, I can feed that back. Yeah, I'd love to chat to anybody who wants to help grow themselves through LinkedIn.
That's brilliant. And we'll put all Nigel's details at the end of this film footage now, so that you can actually go and screenshot that and get hold of him direct. But definitely make sure it's a personal request. Do not just go connect, won't work. Make sure it's a personal request, and I'm sure you'll get hold of Nigel. Thank you so much, Nigel. It's been an honour and a pleasure to interview you on our Showcase Sunday. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.